Base. I'd really like to thank the people who supported that operation at Melbourne Jet Base, Melbourne Jet Base itself, Melbourne Airport, Australian Border Force, Aspen Health and Alfred Health. They did an incredible job at making sure the arrival of all players and their support teams was smooth and safe. Over the last 48 hours, it's been really busy, and it's unfortunate for me to have to let you know that we have our fourth new case today. So that's 4 in total over 2 flights. The details of those 2 flights, one was the flight from LA, so there were 65 people on that flight. The 3 positives, one was a crew member, one was a coach, and the new case this morning was a member of the broadcast team. So that means there are 62 close contacts. The flight from Abu Dhabi, where the other positive case was, who was a coach. So that means there are now 63 close contacts who will remain in quarantine for 14 days. It's important to note that in all the 4 positives, all had a negative test result prior to boarding the plane. In terms of our testing, so we have delayed our training today. You can still see Sky buses turning up, and that's because we've taken the opportunity to continue our simulations, which has been another good training opportunity for the team. But we have delayed training because a number of test results are not in yet. I can confirm that all player and training partners' test results are in, but now we are waiting on the rest of the cohorts. And as we've said previously, we just don't take risks with player safety, our staff safety and community safety. And we are working with Tennis Australia to ensure that we can get back on track tomorrow for a full day of training. And finally, I'd just like to thank the CQV team. They've done an incredible job at standing up what is a really difficult operation across 3 training sites, 3 hotels, and it's been an amazing effort from the staff. Thank you. I'll throw to questions. So all positive cases are transferred to the health hotel.
So there was a man who left the Grand Hyatt this morning and there was people surrounded by PPE. Is that the 4th confirmed case?
So all people who are testing positive will be transferred to the health hotel.
So was it transferred this afternoon?
So in terms of the exact timing, I'll have to come back to you on, but all cases are transferred as soon as it is safe to do so to the health hotel.
Is there 2 hotels? Is it the Holiday Inn and Novotel in Southport?
So the health hotel is the Holiday Inn. The complex care hotel, which is probably what you're referring to, is at Novotel Southport. So we are really working closely with our public health colleagues to ensure that the testing and the results come through and the genomic evidence to that, and we are really hopeful that that comes through in the next few days. It does take time. The broadcaster came from LA.
Some players have been trying to leave their rooms. Can you tell us what circumstances that's under?
Yeah, it's important to note that there are a few cases of this. So the majority of the players, their support crews and their families are doing the right thing, and I can't thank them enough for that. There are a small few who are testing our procedures, and we would encourage them to remain in their rooms. Again, these procedures are in place to keep people safe, and when people come out of their rooms, it's not just about the breach of the order that they're on, but it is also placing them and our staff and the community at risk. And there is zero tolerance for breaches of IPC, and we will deal with those people. I had a conversation with Victoria Police this morning to ensure that we are increasing our compliance and enforcement efforts, and there is zero tolerance for that behaviour.
So they've been trying to escape, have they? How can you just tell us how they've been trying
I can confirm there's not been an attempted escape or escape. This is just testing procedures and some challenging behaviours.
A lot of them have been complaining on social media. Is there any sympathy towards, I suppose, what they're going through?
Quarantine is hard, and we know that it is very new and difficult arrangement for them, and probably very unusual circumstance to what they're used to. Again, this is in place to keep them safe and to keep the Victorian community safe, and we make no apologies for that. What we do need to make it clear to the players and their support crews is if they are needing something, if they need help, they need assistance, not come out of their room, pick up the phone, we are there to help. So we take all breaches really seriously. So for players, that's a fine of up to $20,000, a warning from Victoria Police, But what we've also considered today is for those who are persistently breaching or not willing to remain in their rooms, our other option will be to transfer people to the complex care hotel where they'll have a Victoria Police member outside their door.
What are these breaches? Are you able to just give us an idea of what they are? Is that serious?
Yeah. So some of these challenge behaviours include, I'll give you two examples, a player who opened his door to try and have a conversation with his training mate down the hallway. Again, he's got a phone. You can pick up the phone and use the telephone as opposed to putting yourself and other people at risk. The other was another gentleman who shouted some Uber Eats to some other people on the floor and was praising himself for his great efforts and opened his door to do so. It is really low level but really dangerous acts which we just can't tolerate. Yeah, the last advice I had was that these will be in by 3:30 today. Yeah. Full day of training tomorrow, absolutely. Yeah, so the rules of close contacts haven't changed, and there is no other way that you can consider this. If you're on a plane for 16, 24 hours with air that circulates throughout the plane, you are a close contact. They haven't changed, and this is some of the early planning that we did with Tennis Australia. I can't comment on the players. We don't deal with the players directly. We deal with Tennis Australia. But I can absolutely say that this was made very clear and those rules haven't changed. Again, this is about keeping people safe.
What are the bolstered security operations that you guys have put in place considering these breaches?
So we've got greater strength and activity from Victoria Police, which has started this morning. And again, with the very clear instruction, which is it is zero tolerance to this behaviour. This behaviour puts people at risk.
Has anyone been fined, or would Victoria Police look at finding any players that didn't breach instructions?
Absolutely. So that's been the discussion over the last 24 hours, which is people need to know that what they're doing is wrong, have that warning, and then the next time it does need to escalate to a fine. And if this behaviour continues, it's a transfer to a complex care hotel where they won't be able to come out of their room and train.
So those two players involved, they have been formally warned?
So they have been warned, and Victoria Police will continue to follow up those who haven't been spoken to yet over the course of today. Yeah, no visibility whatsoever.
Uber Eats, they're all getting out of it. Is that all legit and allowed? There's been some confusion over that. Are they able to? Is that all
Yeah.
good?
So absolutely. So Uber Eats in any quarantine program, in any registered meal delivery service is allowed, and that's because the rules of quarantine are really that there is one meal provided to people. If it's not to your liking, then yes, of course you can order Uber Eats.
Even the strict, lockdown.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Yep. No, we're not modifying the program. The program is set up to keep people safe. We will not be modifying the program or watering it down under any circumstances. If anything, we're keeping a very close eye on the research around that UK strand. If anything, we would be more cautious.
There's been some reports that staff have left the Grand Hyatt because they fear that protocols aren't being followed. Is there any truth to that?
I mean, all the incidents come to me. I've had no incident notifications of that or of significant issues. And one of my directors is down there at the moment. I spoke to him on the way here and he's saying it's going well.
Allowing them to
So that's a matter for DHHS. My job is to run a safe and effective quarantine system.
Is there capacity in the
Yes, we've got plenty of capacity in the mainstream quarantine program and can absolutely accommodate more.
So is there any reason why they're not allowed to update them? Because the President has previously indicated that there's not enough capacity in the that's why they're
So I think that the difference now is, well, certainly the rules have changed around the amber zones, but again, that's a matter for public health. My job is to ensure that the quarantine program is safe and effective.
Just to clarify, so no training is happening today, and we're just waiting for everyone to receive their negative test, and that should happen soon.
So if the results come back by 3:30, there's a small chance that we could get people out this afternoon, but again, we will take no risks until all of those results are in. I'm really hopeful that that occurs because I know that it's really important to the tennis players, and we want to make sure that this is a successful quarantine period for them.
And once those results are in and they're negative, then there should be feeling much more confident about all of this, would you say?
Well, yes is the short answer, but again, what we know with this virus is some people's test positive indicators will come later. Again, we don't take risks with that. We've always set up the program to assume that there will be a lot of positives, and we've got procedures in place to manage that. Yeah, we're doing everything possible to support Tennis Australia and the players to ensure that they have additional fitness equipment, to ensure that their fitness levels are maintained during this difficult 14 days.
Are you able to tell us the players that reach the rules there?
Unfortunately, we can't talk about players or anyone in our care individually.
And there were players on the
In terms of the ones who are behaving...
The two cases you mentioned, the two examples?
One was a player, one was not a player. So the international quarantine program, we've now got everyone in who needs to be in. Yep. So that was over the very quick 5 p.m. Friday to 8:30 a.m. Saturday.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. It's okay.